Hey, what's up, gang? Noor Kid Y here, letting go with Noor. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Today, I want to talk about positive thinking. Kind of my beef with positive thinking. I don't know if you want to call it that. Um, but you guys all have heard the idea that your thoughts create your reality, and I completely agree with this idea. Your thoughts have an energetic signature to them, and it influences reality. It 100% does. And when you logically think of that, you might think, okay, if I'm influencing reality with my thoughts, then positive thinking should probably bring about a positive reality. But to be honest, that doesn't really work that way. And I'll tell you why, because a lot of people, the way we talk about positive thinking now in our society and a lot of spiritual channels, it's almost like having affirmations and like thinking that we can trick ourselves into thinking positively. But that's not how it works, because if you really analyze your thoughts, you have thousands and thousands of thoughts in a day. I think I've heard something about up to 70,000 thoughts a day. Like, to watch all of those and to all of a sudden try to manually switch all of that to positive thinking, that does nothing. And if you sit back and you're like, all right, I'm going to think positively right now, and that's going to help it. But if you have this underlying negative narrative underneath that you might not even be aware of, you're not getting anything out of it. So the one thing I want to talk about is how we actually change our thoughts into being into a more positive place. And the two things I've found throughout my spiritual work that have really helped me is learning that your thoughts come from either your emotional state or your beliefs. And both of those things we can work on, and both of those things over time we can change, and then have a lot more pleasant thoughts and positive thoughts that actually end up creating our reality. And first, let's talk about your emotional state, because this is the letting go channel. I talk a lot about letting go, and your emotional state. A lot of us have so much as suppressed emotions inside of us. And when you start really doing this work of releasing suppressed emotions and analyzing what emotional state you're in at different times, you'll start to feel the different subtle energy each state has, and then the different thoughts that come with those states. Now, most of us, if you're on this channel, most of us are in a more pleasant, spiritual, energetic state most of the time. But because you're also seeking these kind of self-help videos, you probably also have some suppressed emotions, pockets of it. For me, I had a little bit of everything. I had a lot of anxiety. I had suppressed guilt, suppressed apathy, suppressed fear, suppressed anger. So I had a little bit of all of these emotions in me. And when you have these suppressed pockets of emotions in you, your emotional state's always going from varying from different states, and you'll feel it. Like, some days you're feeling calm and happy, your thoughts are mostly positive and it feels good, and then the other day you might get angry, and like that whole day you're kind of in an angry, bitter mood, and you'll feel it. And then some days you get apathetic and your energy's heavy and you're tired, and then the thoughts that come with that, they change, and it has a different flavor to them. And these are all just pockets of energy that are in you that you keep replaying because you haven't really released them and processed them. And in this letting go channel, one thing I teach you is, and one thing I've went through myself, is that when you can actually sit with these emotions and let them come up and let them express themselves and feel them fully, that's how you process them, and that's how you let them go. And when you're doing this work, the one thing I tell you, and I keep preaching over and over again, because I'm trying to get this stuck in your head, because once it gets stuck and it becomes natural and it becomes something you do, that's when this work really takes off. That's when you really learn to calm your nervous system, and your nervous system gets to a point where it feels safe releasing these emotions, because it finally realizes that these emotions are holding you back rather than being something that keeps you safe. Because when your nervous system learns that these emotions, when your nervous system goes through these emotions all the time, it just feels like this is its natural thing. And because of that, it kind of feels safe in that natural setting, so it doesn't want to release them and move on to something that's unknown. But so when you start learning how to let go of these things, one thing I tell you to do is maybe do a little bit of meditation every day where you can sit with your emotional state and observe it, because that little bit of meditation will always calm your mind and your nervous system. But you also have to kind of bring your practice off the mat a bit. And at all times, like any time is a good time to just check in on yourself and being like, what am I thinking right now and what am I feeling? Because when you start, you'll always, when you start thinking like that, approaching this spiritual practice in that light, you'll start catching yourself in bad thought loops, and you'll be like, oh man, right now my thoughts are really angry. And you're like, okay, now how do I feel right now? Like, maybe like just I'm observing these thoughts, I notice it's angry, and then like, how do I feel in my body? And you'll notice you'll feel it in your chest usually, because anger is usually in your chest, maybe in your stomach, and you'll notice that there's this like energy, or there's tension, or there's different feelings in your chest. So this work is about allowing those feelings to be, and just like observing them, and just like understanding that this is energy that's stuck in your system and it's influencing your thoughts. Because when that energy is expressing itself, and you'll have these angry thoughts, and then you'll feel it when you have like apathetic thoughts. And that apathetic, when you're like, oh man, I'm having these like really apathetic thoughts of like, I'm not good enough, I'm a piece of shit, blah blah blah, like nothing really matters, like what worth is it trying? Those are apathetic thoughts. And when you have those thoughts, usually you're even in a lower place, and your body's a lot heavier, and the energy that you're expressing is a lot heavier. And when you feel that, you can really start to process that energy too. And none of this, sometimes it happens really quickly, so I'm not going to say like you maybe you do this and you can release some of this energy really quickly. Sometimes it just takes some persistence. And like I'm telling you guys, you show up every day and feel these energies, and these suppressed emotions in you, and they'll slowly start releasing, and you'll feel when you're feeling the emotions releasing, you'll see the thoughts release with them too, because all of those emotions have a flavor of thoughts that come with it. Like I said, maybe apathetic is one thing that you have. I got fire trucks. I don't know if you can hear that. Maybe apathetic. Let's see if you have pockets of apathetic. When you're thinking of starting or doing some sort of project or something, when you're in that apathetic energy, all your thoughts are going to be like, I fail at everything. I'm not good enough to do that. Why even bother? This is stupid. And then you might move up to guilt, and then you'll be like, I never put in enough work to be good enough at this. I'm not worthy because of I just didn't do enough in the past. And like, that's the guilty energy. And then you might move up to fear, be like, what happens if people don't like me? What happens if they attack me for speaking my mind? What happens if I fail? Like, that's the fear. And then you move up to anger, and you'll be like, like they're just probably going to give it to somebody else because of this. Like, why are those people getting ahead? Like, all these energies that's inside of you, they have their thoughts with you. So when you remove these energies, you start moving up into higher energies, and you'll start getting energies like courage. Courage is when you start moving into like positive energies. And in courage, when you are approaching a project or something, your thoughts are going to all of a sudden be like, okay, I'm a little scared of that, but you know what? I can push through and do it. I've done stuff like that before. I can do it again. That's how your thoughts start going, and then you might push up into acceptance and just be like, no, I'm doing this, and I've accepted that I'm doing this, so whatever happens, I'll be fine. You move into peace, and you can move up into really high peace and be like, everything's fine the way it is, and I have no issue with it. Enjoy. You're like, this is amazing. I'm going to have fun with this. I love creating. This is like the different energies we have inside of us. And those energies will express the thoughts they'll create the thoughts that you constantly repeat. And like I said, you have thousands and thousands of thoughts. You can't manually change each one, but when you change that energy level you're in, the thoughts that come with that energy level will express itself naturally. So I want you guys to do that. The other thing I was telling you about, let me take a drink of water. So your emotional state, how it expresses the thoughts that you have. The other thing that expresses the thoughts that you have are your beliefs. So sometimes you have to analyze your beliefs that you have deep down inside, because a lot of these beliefs were given to you when you were younger. And yeah, if you have a belief that you're not meant to do this, like that belief is going to be so limiting, and it's going to create so many thoughts that will, it's just going to like limit your future, limit what you can do. So you have to examine those kind of beliefs in you. Sometimes those beliefs themselves are linked to suppressed emotions. So sometimes when you're purging those suppressed emotions, those beliefs come out too. But sometimes they're not linked to emotion. Sometimes they're just linked to something you were told when you were younger. And you just logically think that that's how the world works. So you have to get rid of that. Another thing, though, is your faith. One thing with my beliefs, I've always believed in something higher, a higher power. I've always believed in God. And I just realized, my faith was kind of weak, to be honest. I think I believed in that, but when you really, truly believe, anything's possible. You like the whole saying, like with God, anything's possible. That's really true. And with this spiritual, divine energy that's in us, anything is possible. And when you strengthen your faith and you strengthen your beliefs, that will naturally make your thoughts like a completely different thinking that you have. It'll, like you talk about positive thinking, this will be limitless positive thinking. You'll think limitlessly about what you can do in this world, and it's completely different. And that's why, since I started doing this work, you let go of a lot of these negative energies inside you, these negative emotions. And now my energy is mostly up. I'm mostly in higher energy states, and it feels amazing. And my mind and my nervous system is calmed down a lot because I've let go of so much of that anxiety and fear that was driving a lot of me, and a lot of anger and doubt and stuff as well, is like apathy and anger inside of me as well. But I purged so much of that now. Now my nervous system is very calm, and when it gets reactive, I can calm it down. And not only is my nervous system calm, my mind's calm. And when my mind's calm, that's when the divine can enter you. That's when that energy can rise, and you have a stronger connection with God, higher power, whatever you want to say. I'm going to say God, but use whatever word you want. And like now, when I'm in that silence and that stillness, I can feel that divinity there, and that connection and that faith starts to grow. So my beliefs get strengthened, my faith gets strengthened, and when that gets strengthened, all of a sudden your thoughts are like now just in this new realm of just like, hey, anything I can do, anything I want to do, I can do. I really believe that. And it's not like I'm like, I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm now more narrowed, more purpose-driven. I love doing these videos. I really do feel it's something a part of me. So it's like, hey, I can release a video like this pretty much every day if I need to. I have no problem. And like coming up with ideas and stuff, it's very easy. And I have no doubts anymore that like I'll get some success in wherever I need to get it. And the more you strengthen your beliefs and your faith, your thoughts will come along with that too. So yeah, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about. Positive thinking. I get the idea. Don't approach it where I'm trying to change my thoughts. Approach it where I want to change my emotional state. And remember, just keep checking in on yourself. Check in on yourself right now. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Feel it in your body. If you've been a little angry or a little anxious, sit with it. Let that emotion go. The emotion's completely fine. It's just energy stuck in you, and you just have to like not judge it, not resist it, and let it be. Let it come up. Let those thoughts come up, and over time, you keep doing this practice. I promise you, the energy is going to leave your body. Those negative energies, those negative emotions. And it takes different time for everybody, so don't put a time limit on it. Have some patience, and trust me, your thoughts are going to will change a ton after that too. And I really do wish you guys the best. Like and comment, please. Subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them, or let me know what you think, or if any subjects you want me to talk about in future videos. Peace, guys.